Hello people, and welcome back to part 15 of Palaven, our vanilla Cities Skylines build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And again, another apology for the delay in content this week. I mentioned that we had some more personal life issues to deal with, so thank you for your patience and understanding in your wait for new content. I really appreciate it, but we are back now, at least, at least for the meantime. And we're going to do some oil industry nature reserve today. I don't know what that means. So we're going to try and combine two different styles. So combining kind of two different things off of this little kind of menu here. You know, you might want to do like police and fire, or medical and education, kind of like parks and medical. You know, you can combine a couple of different assets from each of these tabs here to create a new area. And you know, it's something that I do quite a lot in my cities, especially in the modular builds as well. The leisure centre modular build particularly makes use of that kind of idea. So Palaven, or Murky Coast, has oil right here on this little mountain, which we want to turn into a nature reserve. However, I also want there to be some like oil industry here, so it's kind of, I guess, like it's been pushed out, like it used to be, kind of, you know, functioning and kind of the main theme of the area. But now, as the oil is starting to dry up, they're trying to become more ecological. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure if it does, but I guess we'll kind of see as we go here. You know, we'll kind of get an idea for how this thing is going to look. I also need to delete this because we had an excellent suggestion last time on actually making this a little bit of a recess, kind of shoving it down a little bit and then putting the water pump back in. There we go. So now the fresh water outlet is slightly kind of recessed into the mountain. It'll just hide it a little bit more, and that will also detail this up today as well with some of the old rocks and stuff. It'll be very fun. Yeah, you can see now it's being surrounded by the water as well, and flowing down into the creek, which is amazing. I've got some stuff to tend to over here. Make sure they're all good. Okay, so with the oil, go ahead and start drawing this thing out. I think we're going to kill this power line temporarily, and then let's go ahead and draw that industry area out. So obviously we can't overlap park and industry. They have to be separate. We'll have to bear that in mind. So let's bring the industry here. So this oil area is never going to hit level 5. And we probably won't do a significant oil build in Palaven. If you are kind of interested in seeing that refinery idea, then might I suggest you check out the modular build for the oil refinery. That might help you out. I'll try and remember to leave that in the description below as well. We want to place in an oil industry main building. Okay, so obviously right now this looks pretty horrendous because it's on such a horrendous slope. But this is going to make sure that our industrial area is going to be recognised as oil, and it's also going to allow us to place some small oil pumps in as well. I'm thinking I do want it to kind of go up a hill here, and I think this height about here is going to be perfect for actually having the main building on. So let's factor that in right now. Let's take a chunk of this mountain away. We'll start creating a little bit of a platform. Bring it out there. So I'm happy for it to face that direction. So we'll bring out a road for the main building to sit on. Then we can relocate him. How's that looking? Yeah, I don't mind that, I don't think. I'm quite happy with the way that the road is almost like overlooking this main building here, you know? Then we can hook these up. Now let's see what else we have to play with. So we probably won't even literally just going to use some of the small oil pumps, I think. I think that's what we'll do. So again, we'll just break some of these out and do some more terraforming. And maybe move down a brush size. And then just flatten out some of these sides alongside the road. We create this one as well. And then this one. And then we can just create like a little bit of a cliff where we want this oil industry area to reside. And then we can have some of the oil pumps up alongside as well. Let's keep pushing this back. Level terrain tool is our best friend. Again, you can do this on with the natural resources overview on too. So I know I've got some more oil here, so I might want to push this bit out a bit too. That should be fine. Okay. And then I think we'll go freeform with no snapping here. Bring the road alongside the cliff. And then I guess we'll do like a little turnaround point here as well. So there's like the little service roads that people would park up on and use these things, right? Kind of point of drawing these roads out either side of them. I want to make sure we're not going too over the top with these either. I think now we'll focus on bringing a couple more down here as well. Go for kind of one in the middle. And then one on the side. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. And then do we want to store some of it up with the tank farm? The pyrolysis plant is gonna... How do you pronounce that? Pyrolysis? I think it is. I think this will... How does this look if we include it in the build? Okay, I think we might just have one of those in, almost like a little supplementary support building alongside the main one. I think that the crude tank farm will be a little bit too much here. Decisions. Decisions, what do we want to do? Let's bring out another road here. We will include the tank farm, but for these roads that initially come into the oil area, we'll have as industrial roads. And then once they head out this way, we'll then switch to the dirt road. I think I'm happy with that. It obviously needs tidying up a lot, but we'll do that as well. So I think with the oil industry fences here, we're just going to snap to our angle. And then what we're going to do is almost like box in each of these oil pumps. We'll be able to get down the side, will we? No, that's fine. Just come behind it. Maybe a little bit further here, actually. Kind of include the road in some of these boxes as well. Maybe here too. And what we can do is we can run some rocks and overgrowth around these as well. If you are playing with the, I think it's the mod beautification mod, you do get access to some of the industrial props, which really help with these things, especially when you're trying to detail the industrial areas. And then again, we'll do the same thing on this one as well. Not kind of bothered about the fences being too straight. We use a couple of different angles as well and get some paths in here. And then let's actually try that path idea out right here. Let's go ahead and grab the gravel path. We'll have that one in there. And then let's grab the oil industry fence in a couple of different positions. Okay. And then I think with the fence along the cliff, we'll run with nature reserve. Like a little old rickety wooden fence that stops people from driving over the edge. We'll mix and match these in and around the oil industry stuff. And you can bring it in. Whilst I'm joining fences, thank you so much for all support on the channel again. We are very close to 17k subs, if not there already. Which is crazy, so thank you. And also, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, because there are a lot of new people, come ahead and join the Discord. Recently, 2 of the mods got drunk, which was fun. And there's some good gaming chat in there, some good channels. We've got a game deals channel, which is always fun if you're maybe looking to save a little more money on your favorite games, then come ahead and join in. It's a really nice community. Everyone's really cool. I think we'll come out from this side as well. And then maybe what we might do is clear out some of these trees here. And then let's grab ourselves a dirt road. And we'll just create like a little winding, like a little backcountry road. That links back up with the main road down here as well. Got a little bit of a nice climb to it, you know, a nice incline. Cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Do we want any wind farms out here? I'm not sure, because we'll need to power these over here as well. Maybe we could just go for one. Kind of 3 like that. Like we did over in the farm, over there. Okay. It's certainly within its fledgling stage, and then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the nature reserve around the rest of the mountain here. And create a little bit of like a forest border between the two of them. Let's go ahead and grab that industrial road. And what we'll do is here we'll take it off in that direction, and we'll just plan for something to eventually sit down here, although we are going to bring the highway out from this point as well. So we'll need to make sure that we leave enough room for that. Because I think we're also going to bury it into this mountain as well. Kind of have like a tunnel that leaves the highway. And then elevates and like comes through here. And then pops out the other side. Travels across here. And then hooks in with this highway on this side. Not sure whether we'll do that yet or not. Because we're going for kind of sleepy rural suburb here, and I think an elevated highway might ruin that a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of sinking them underground either. So I guess we'll see. Who knows what's going to happen? I certainly don't. Okay, let's go ahead and grab this road here. And how are we going to look in going across this way? Let's go for like a tiny little baby bridge over the stream here. Starting to see some people begin to move around this oil area now. Of course, once this fills up, these guys will go away a little further. So the vast majority of the oil is going to be exported out of the city. And we will produce a little bit of petroleum once this begins to fill. He'll start getting his fair share, like right now. But yeah, this won't ever, well, I guess it'll go to level 2, right? Yeah, it'll go to level 2. Which is fine. Maybe even level 3, actually. Not sure. We'll have to wait till we hit level 2. But yeah, it won't go in any much further than that. Like I said, if you guys are interested in seeing like a full oil refinery build using some of the factories and all the assets from the Industries DLC for oil, then we did a modular build a couple of weeks ago that you can check out. And I will remember to leave it in the description as well. But yeah, okay. Let's continue to hook up our little transportation methods. We can't do the train line yet, can we? Because we haven't had train lines in, which is fine. We will do eventually, don't worry. Let's go ahead and draw this road up parallel with the rail. Go for there for right now. And then we've got our freeform. In there. I think I'm quite happy with the little hump in the bridge, you know. I don't mind that. Just get some rocks around here as well, like continue to do what we've done down here. And with all this stuff. We do it around the bridge as well, and hook these walking paths in. So now what it needs to do is we need to add in the nature reserve, so let's go ahead and do that. I think what we'll do is we'll go for some... We'll probably stick with the dirt road. Just draw a little box out so we can separate it off the main road. And then we'll come in and grab, so we've got a couple of different gates, the small and the main gate. And I think we'll go for the main gate. So that's going to generate our park area for us. Please feel free to name the nature reserve. I know a lot of you enjoy naming it. Yeah, so feel free to name the nature reserve. Hickory Marsh will not be the name. So feel free to throw in an inside joke or just something silly or hilarious or realistic, whatever. Most liked one I'll name it after, I guess. Okay, so we're kind of perfectly tucked in around this banana oil industry right here. And let's begin to start sketching something out. So, nature reserve paths are wonderful, and we use them a lot. And what we'll do is, we'll start to come up here. And we can't really create anything major at this point, because we've only got tents and campfires. So we'll bring nature reserve path quite windy, and I think what I'll do is, as we approach the mountain, we're going to put on our terrain tool, so we can kind of follow the natural contour of the mountain, rather than just kind of like brute forcing our way through. Keep it going. We'll also probably get some walking tours in here as well, I imagine. I don't think we've done anything with walking tours just yet. Keep going. Nice, steady. Steady climbing. I think it'd be cool to wrap around near the water spring here as well. So we'll draw a path out like that, and then from this point begin to cut off another way. So we're just going to keep climbing. Nice little mountain trail, you know? Here we go, and then we're pretty much at the top here. Where's the map border? Right here. Keep bringing it around. And then once we're kind of at the top, we can then begin to formulate some more little paths that come off this, and then make some little dedicated camping areas, which will be fun. Super. That'll kind of be the main path, right? There's going to be a ton of detailing to do around here. I am looking forward to that. So let's actually begin to work on some of the attractions for the nature reserve. So we only have very limited assets at the moment before we get into some of the cooler stuff a little further ways down here. So what I'm going to do is, a fun way I like to decorate my nature reserves, especially when you're starting them out, is to find a spot that looks cool, right? So I'm going to grab myself a campfire. I'm going to place it here. Just a selection of tents. Sit around the edge of them. And there's also a bunch of decorating options down here as well. So we could go for a little firewood rack. Maybe place one of these tiles down with some, maybe a couple of tables on it. Little chair. Maybe some binoculars. And then maybe a little further away, we can have like the little outhouse. So then, I'm going to grab my freeform tool. I'm going to use the path without decorations as we begin to come down into this thing. Then, just going to draw these in. And if you want to, you could even switch out to the regular gravel path here. Just draw out a little path down to like what would be the outhouse here. So maybe reposition him a little bit so he's not as kind of teetering on the edge. There we go. And then we're going to come into our small trees. I'm going to go for like a couple little bushes around the outhouse. Definitely some within the campsite as well, especially on the corners of the junctions of the paths. Make sure you get lots of bushes around them, you know. And then we'll just keep doing some bushes. Move up a tree size, maybe start fleshing out the inner campsite with some of the smaller trees. Let's go ahead and start placing some of these little Palaven pines around. Definitely some conifers as well. Get a few of these in. You want some areas of this national park to be quite dense as well. No, look, I have lots of forestry. Thick, lush forest. Okay, how are we looking here? See? A little more interesting right now. It's on its way. Of course, let's go for the old trusty favourite of the overgrowth. Little bits and pieces. Especially in amongst where you've got lots of trees, you know. I don't want to get too many folks walking around this area. And then definitely want some nature reserve fence for this cliff front right here. Okay, I'm going to fracture it. It's not going to be one solid piece. Just where the campsite is. It'll be fine. They just got a very cute, detailed campsite here. Nothing overly impressive. But equally as much, it's sometimes a case of less is better, you know? So we've hit the entertainment level. That's going to be wonderful. Now we've just got to wait for the visitors to come in. But what we'll do is we'll now just kind of head across the mountain, creating little clusters of campsites like this for our people to come and enjoy. And then we'll have a look at some walking tours as well. So let's go ahead and make another one. Kind of the point at the top, I want to save for one of the viewing decks. So we'll definitely wait until we go up a couple levels to get there. I wonder if we actually want to bring it down this side as well. Let's go ahead and start looking at some rocks. So I really want to kind of move towards the heavier end here. So cliff number 2 is going to be ideal. So start working a few of these in. You can kind of merge them into one another to help create like a false rock face. Just up alongside the walking trails here. And if you do want to find like that, for example, this one right here. We got like a really steep basin here, right? Let's kind of make a landslide out of this. Let's kind of go for like a big chunky rock towards the bottom. And then maybe some smaller ones that are like spilled off it over the years. So let's go for some of these rock decals actually on the cliff face itself. And then we can maybe use rock formation 4. Now, how curvy are we here? Don't think I mind that. You can kind of tell where it's collapsed away as it's been exposed to the wind and the elements over a number of years. And then what I'll do again is just surround the rock. This is going to be a very heavy tree and rock episode, isn't it? I hope you don't mind, because it is going to be. If it isn't, maybe just fast forward to the outro so you guys can kind of see the final product. You get some stuff in here. I think just something as simple as that makes the cliff face a little more interesting, you know? Like this bit of rock here used to be attached to this, but it's since fallen away. Left debris behind that has buried itself into the mud and the rock in the cliff. And then there's the big chunk of it that actually fell down. Yeah. It's a bit more interesting than just this, you know? Anyway, I hope that point's getting across. I won't just keep staring at it, I promise. Okay. So, the next things that we're going to unlock, we're going to get a couple of viewing decks. We'll also get a tent camping site as well. So there's a couple of policies we can apply to nature reserves, and the nature reserve buildings have a separate container for biodegradable garbage and handles the garbage on the park grounds, which will decrease the garbage accumulation by 20% for nature reserve buildings. We might as well throw that on. It's only $10 per building. It's not a huge expense, you know. And then we'll also throw on advertise a campaign as well, which will help draw more visitors. That's fine. We're trying to level up. It's only 200 a week. We're rolling in money right now. We don't need to worry about that. So let's go for some more rocks here. And a good way to kind of place these rocks is run with the larger assets first. And then link them together with small ones. Yeah, I'm not sure about getting some of these kind of really almost like Utah looking ones in. I think we'll go for a cave. That might be quite fun. We have a cave in on the side there. And then how about up near the water feature as well? I bet there's some kind of way to merge those two assets together so it's kind of like the water is coming out of the cave. That would be cool. Might try and play with that idea off camera. I'm just going to totally surround my little water spring here with lots of large rock assets. And then maybe one in here as well. And then as we move downstream, we'll kind of shift the size down. I think we'll have kind of a big rock in the water right there. And we hit level 2 on the oil industry. Wonderful. That's going to give us the household plastic factory, at least. And then a bunch of stuff as well. Yeah, I definitely don't think we'll take this past level 2. How is it doing? Yeah, so we're actually exporting most of the petroleum. And the output barrels is 320 as well. We're getting a little bit of pollution here on the trees from this one. Okay, let's go in with that rock detail in here. Let's go ahead and use some of the other ones. To kind of where the path, almost like hairpins like this, we'll run some of these smaller rock decals around. Use the same one, but just spin it around by right-clicking. And then let's go for some trees in here. So these things can seem a little daunting at first, but just keep, like, constantly switch your asset out, change the angles, and before you know it, you'll have much more varied kind of patterns in this part. In these kind of builds. Go ahead and get some of these Palaven pines around the stream. Maybe one in here as well. I really want to decorate a nice lush mountainside here. They can look really boring in kind of the vanilla game. You've got to take your time with them. Keep going. Let's go for maybe some of these. So what I was kind of talking about is fitting them in with one another. Kind of leave little spaces between them. And almost like shape each of the rocks around one another. That was terribly explained. So I'm trying to leave like space between them so they're not kind of like crammed into each other like this, you know? I think it just helps with the making the formation look a little more natural. And then maybe we can head these ones off with a cave. I'm actually doing some terraforming here. Need to work on these pathways here a little bit. So we'll dive into the wonderful world of nature reserve fence once again. Again, I'm really happy with that kind of fractured, broken pattern. I don't want it just to be one long fence. Then what we'll do as well, when we come to kind of join up the next campsite in a minute, we'll take a look at actually focusing one of the campsites around one of the larger rock assets. Again, lots of different lengths. Some shorter, some longer. And then bring that one up. So right now we're starting to get these little fence decals appearing in. Raining too as well, which is nice. Nice view from here. Then we're going to grab our rock area. Again, a couple of these little rock decals along the cliff face. Go for a couple of these. I'm going to spin them around so we're not repeating the pattern too much. And then maybe some of the taller trees along this as well. I do enjoy decorating nature reserves. I hope that's coming across. I'm just kind of zoning out here and just having in my absolute element placing trees. Also in the Discord we have a real life city inspiration channel, which is tremendously helpful. So if you ever stuck for inspiration, you can always dive into that and kind of find out some areas and designs that you're probably not used to. I'm going to go again where these little path intersections are. This is beginning to look like a real secret blend of 11 herbs and spices right now. It's a much more interesting cliffside to look at, isn't it? So I've gone ahead and moved the main entrance of the park up the hill a little bit further, and also ran a bus line from here over to the intercity bus hub over there too. Just so we can prepare for the eventual arrival of people. And we'll go ahead and make another little campsite here. So we're going to terraform, and I think we'll have it on the path here. We'll click out and just push out a little platform for ourselves. And then this time we'll use campfire site 2. Have that there. Then maybe we'll go for a little bit of symmetry here. Get 3 of the same tents in a row. And then we'll give them like a little seating area that overlooks the view from here. I'll say once we unlock a couple more assets, we'll be able to do something a little fancier than this, but right now, this is going to be just what we need. Go ahead and throw down some more trees, especially around the back and on the flatter parts of this. Maybe a touch of overgrowth as well. Now really kind of put your overgrowth where no one else really walks. Might be a little bit too close, push it back a little further. Then we'll grab some of these smaller rocks here. We did something really similar in Begusia with kind of this little idea here of like small micro nature reserves. If anyone is kind of a long time viewer, you remember we did it on the island, on the cliff. It was actually a recommendation from, I think it was Bill and Ted, a long time subscriber that actually recommended it. And then some more nature reserve fence. Definitely on these kind of sharper cliff faces. And we can run it down here as well. Just go ahead and like Google pictures of campsites as well, you know? Like to see how they're laid out. Obviously like camping sites these days tend to be fairly modern. They have like, you know, toilets and like hobbit holes and stuff. Especially the ones near, because we have a lot of them in the Lake District. So I think what I want to do with this cliff face here is actually make, so obviously cutting the video, I've just been looking at some kind of cliffside pathways, and a lot of them actually use bridges. So we've got this one here, right? So this kind of steadily climbs the mountain, which is cool. I like this. But these assets are actually a little bit too far away for Sims to be bothered to walk there. So they're happy to come to this one, which is fine. But I also want them to be able to enter the nature reserve from another side as well. So what we'll do is we'll actually draw up a road from here, and then give them like a real old like bridge that zigzags down to the ground on this side. So let's work on that. So we'll start it from here, and then we'll just start to come down like this. I'll do this from the side on. We'll also have road guideline on as well for this bit. And then we can make a touchdown here. And that's pretty wild. There's kind of old wooden support beams here. So here we go. I'm going to have people climb. Yeah, it's a shame that these pillars don't have the wood texture all the way down. They do switch to concrete, but we can tidy that up with rocks and detailing and stuff. We'll start to get some people coming this side as well. Not happy with this right now. This looks horrendously ugly. But we'll tidy this up in the detailing end of things anyway. Here they come. They're walking all the way up. Imagine this is quite the cardio workout, isn't it? We're kind of spiraling up here. Well, I guess it's zigzagging, isn't it? Oh, that's a little bit steep, isn't it? We can tidy it up. Don't worry about it. But it's worth it though, because now these guys are going to be camping. This woman here is just sat out in the rain in shorts and t-shirt. And who doesn't like sitting out in the rain though, right? Walking in the rain is one of the most like therapeutic things. I absolutely love it. Especially this kind of heavy downpour rain as well. So I think what we'll do, guys, while we're waiting for the national park to level up, Looks great in the rain, by the way. I love seeing all that kind of the sheen of the rock in all the water. That's pretty good. I think we'll kind of work with some little suburban ideas. So just some low density residential here, I think. And I want it to be pretty uniform. So we're just going to draw in some really basic grids like this. And we'll probably do maybe 3 streets. And then we'll do some kind of little path design to link these 2 areas together. So I guess we'll see how that goes. So let's take a look at a couple of different... How is noise pollution here? Ooh, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's very noisy. Okay. Let's take this one out then. And then we'll work with this side instead. So I want to have a little look at a couple of different low density residential patterns. So we'll get some shapes in here and then we'll wait to see what we get in. Maybe in a 2x2 as well. Try a couple of different shapes. And then once we kind of see an asset that we like, we can duplicate this. And then see if we can come up with a pattern that we enjoy. So just some very kind of low income housing, you know, it overlooks a prison. It's not a particularly nice place to live. There's industrial views from here. And there's industry behind it. See, this is the kind of asset I'm kind of after here. This one's not bad either. This will be a little bit too small. Yeah, I think it's more this one that I'm after here. What's the size of this one? This is a 2x2, right? Yeah, okay. Let's go for the 2x2s. So we'll take these out. And then we'll start drawing these in. So let's go for a simple repeated pattern like this. And once we have the gaps. I also wonder if we leave them a little bit further spaced apart. And then we can have a path through the middle of them. We can do some nice trees here as well. So we'll also apply the schools out policy here as well, which will make them prefer lower educated jobs. Which I think will fit with the vibe quite nicely. Have we missed a pattern here? Yes, we have. Someone is not paying attention. Yeah, we're all good there. And then 3 in between. And there we go. And then what we'll do is we'll grab just a regular dirt path. Out to our grid. And then we'll come through the middle in a couple of places along here as well. So it's not going to be like a huge population residential expansion, but I think some kind of, you know, low income housing in between all these quite dirty industrial areas will be quite nice. It'll help us to create a little bit of a new theme within the city, you know. And then we can do some fencing behind these as well to almost like give them their own little kind of private yard. Save the game on 3 speed here. Let everybody come in. And then I guess we'll... Okay, so actually take this road out. And then what we'll do is we'll draw him in again, but we'll go 1 block up this time. And this will just mean that we're a little more symmetrical, which of course is always appreciated. Keep drawing these in. Of course, these guys will want power. We will find a way to hook them into the grid permanently, but for right now, let's just draw them a power line in. Let's come down there. That should be okay for the meantime. I want to be kind of careful as to what assets are generating in. This one's probably not what I'm looking for. Let's wait for that one to refresh. But all these guys, these are perfect. Kind of the little bungalows, you know. That one's okay, I think. Yeah. Keep making them historical. We'll keep that one. The kind of the back alley behind the houses is an Imperial Jedi design. I think it is. Of course, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Imperial Jedis. Then what we'll do is just going to draw in using our grid and angle. Just going to draw little boxes around each of these grids, alright? We'll delete that one as well. So I'll go ahead and repeat this pattern, and then we'll kind of see what we're looking like when we come back. Yeah, so this is the kind of vibe I'm going for, you know. Some low income housing here. Then my little 2x2s with 3 in the middle. It is certainly not an efficient use of space, so if you're kind of going for a big kind of gridded metropolis, this is not the ideal thing to do. But you know, it's a different change of pattern, different change of scenario, I suppose is the word. Would help if I was sticking to my rules. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing here as well. You guys are kind of looking for some inspiration on like a low income, low density residential area. Detroit has some really kind of areas like this. Go ahead and check out Google Maps for that inspiration if you haven't already. So this one's way too fancy looking. As are you. No, it's these ones that I want. Of course, if you are playing with plot with the growables, this process becomes much easier. Just a little side note as well, guys, I'm thinking that the next series after Palaven is going to be a basically modded snow build. So if that sounds like it might be of interest to you. So that's kind of using stuff like plot the growables so we can be a lot more customizable in terms of what buildings we want to appear where. Probably not move it. Hey, level 2, wonderful. Let's go ahead and check that out in a minute. Yeah, probably not stuff like move it, but plot the growables, traffic manager, kind of like we did with the build guide, but a couple more mods than the build guide had. Surface painter, stuff like that. You know, nothing to the level of like, you know, $2.20's Marble Mountain and stuff, but if we kind of have a look at $2.20's Miami, you know, he's using all vanilla assets, but using mods to get it to look right. Again, take this one out. Make all the ones that we want historical. Okay, let's dive back into the wonderful world of the nature reserve because we've unlocked some new stuff. Where are we? Okay, so we have a couple of view index, fantastic news, and a tent camping site number 1, which is tremendously exciting. So let's have a look at the tent camping site. It's kind of a mismatch of all those assets we've just been placing, apart from it comes pre-built. Alright, I suppose. I kind of prefer actually placing the old ones in because you can kind of be a lot more customizable in the way that they look. You know, designing little campsites like this on the edge of the cliff. I suppose this one isn't too bad looking. I feel like it needs its own path though. Well, it does because it's not actually connected, so we'll do that anyway. Let's go ahead and grab our freeform. And then we'll just draw him up like that. Coming a little bit closer. And then we can see that it's using the conifers, so we'll continue to flesh that pattern out and around it, almost like to blend it into its surrounding landscape. Around like this, let's move down to some bushes. Again, every time we have kind of a little path junction, I'm going to throw in some of those bushes. Apologies if this hasn't been your kind of episode, this has been a very detailing, almost kind of, not a full-on detailing episode like we have done in Palaven a couple of times already. But, you know, it's been not as much infrastructure, I suppose, is the phrase I'm looking for here. I'll go with some bushes and stuff around it. You know, just surrounding it with similar assets helps to blend it in a little bit more. You can tell it's not just been placed on its own. Nice little different layers of height developing here as well. And then I guess we'll get this viewing deck in here right now. So let's continue our path. Go for no snapping. And then we'll bring it round. Kind of on a corner like this. Look it in. We got a couple of them. Both at 80 entertainment, right? Yes, they are. Let me know, guys, what you think should kind of sit on each opposite side of this mountain. So obviously we have some space here. And we have some space here. I imagine it will become part of the suburban sprawl from the green cities and the creek as we continue to expand in this fashion on this side. Otherwise, if you have any suggestions or ideas as to what you kind of want to sit either side of this, then please do feel free to throw it in the comments and I'll check them out. But that's going to feel, guys, like a wonderful place to jump into a detailing session. We're going to tidy up some of these cliff sides here, do some more rock detailing to help blend a lot of these different areas in. I might do another stream coming down this side and cut it through this way to link it up to this one. Just so we have that kind of pattern again. And then also continue to develop and detail this little low-income suburban pattern. And tidy up some of the oil area here as well. Kind of draw a fence in around it. Maybe a little bit of office zoning as administration. And I'll have a look at some of the more buildings in those assets as well to see if we want to include any of them. So, as always, we'll be right back. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, a like below is always appreciated. Equally as much if you didn't enjoy it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I'm quite happy with the way this has turned out. It's a really nice use of the space along this mountain, turning it into kind of a nature reserve national park, and the old oil industry kind of just clinging on to its last rights before it's forced out is a nice little addition. How well it's turned out, I guess I'll leave it up to you guys to judge, but there is certainly still plenty of detailing work to be done around here. And don't forget to let me know what you think should sit on either side of this mountain, whether you want to see something totally new, an extension of this, or indeed that kind of rural suburban sprawl that we have been going for on this side of the map. Anyway, hopefully now we should be returning to something of a normal upload schedule, at least 2 to 3 videos a week, maybe sometimes 4, depending on kind of my own personal life and whatnot. But thank you for your patience again on bearing with me on getting the content out. I really do appreciate it. Otherwise, we will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.